Welcome to Transcend Creative. I'm going to take a list that I have of candidates who won the race in the state of Oregon for either the Senate or the House in the state legislature, and I need to get it into a format where I can import this into my legislator database, which I created in CiviCRM, which is a WordPress plugin and open source. And I have to make sure that each one of these has their information broken out the proper way, and I need to set a unique key so that when I go ahead and import this into CiviCRM, it merges the data with the existing data for that person who is already in my database. So in order to do that, let's take a look at this file. You can see the first thing we have is the district number in regular numeric format. We have too much information in this candidate cell. Actually, I don't even want the opponent here, so what I'm going to do is remove that opponent column. I just want the winners, and then I need to fill out their state, which is Oregon, and then I need to set the unique ID, and I want to break this out by last name and what their political party is. So that's the goal of this, and again, it's just so that I could set this up so that it makes it easy for me to import this into CiviCRM database of legislators that I created, so that it merges the records. It finds the existing contact by their unique ID or external identifier and matches up their information. So that's the goal of formatting this file properly. And we're going to take a look at a whole bunch of things, including flash fill, filtering, numeric formatting, and concatenating a unique ID by concatenating the different cells that we create here to form the unique ID. So the first thing we're going to do is I need to remove this opponent column, but I don't want to lose that information. So I'm just going to create another sheet. Oh, and this is what it'll look like when we're done. So I have the district, I have the last name, I'll have their external ID, which is a little bit more complex in the way that we format things, but still pretty easy. They have their party here, R and D. I know that there aren't any third parties or independents in this list. And all that was created from this column that we have on our original sheet that we looked at. And then all of these need to be Oregon and then their chamber, whether they're in the Senate or in the House. So to continue, I will add a new sheet by clicking on the plus sign. I'll rename this sheet by double clicking on sheet. So I'll just say winner 2 and hit enter. And then I will copy this entire sheet by clicking on this blank square all the way up in the top left. And that turns the whole sheet gray, which means it selected the entire sheet. I will hit Control C on my Windows laptop keyboard, and I will go to the Winner 2 tab, click in cell A1 and hit Control V as Victor, and then that will copy the entire sheet. And then I can get rid of this column C by clicking on the letter C in the column header, right click, and hit delete. And I don't need that. Okay, so now I know that these are all from Oregon, so I'm just going to use the 2-letter abbreviation, type it in, hit enter, go back to the same cell, hover over the lower right corner where there's that black square so that I get this icon of a dark cross, and then double click, and that will flash fill all the way down to the end of my list. And I have 77 records here, and everybody here is a legislator in the state of Oregon. The next thing I want to do is insert another column, so I'll right click on the letter B, column header, hit insert from the drop down list, and then I want to call this last name. You can see that the last name is in column C, and it's the first word in all of these. I'm not seeing any hyphenated names or 2-name last names. These are all just single last names. I'm also not seeing any funky foreign characters like Hispanic characters or umlauts or anything like that. So, because sometimes that really throws off my data or it won't match up when I import it into my database. So I'm checking for all these other things as well. So the first thing I want to do is create the last name, and what I need to do, I'll use flash fill for that. And what I need to do is start showing Excel a pattern so it has a good idea of what I'm looking for, and it it will learn and it will give me what I want. So I'll just start typing a few Hurd and Robinson and Anderson, and I use Power BI. I'm just in the habit of doing multiple of these here in Excel, but Power BI will all you have to do is type one and automatically it flash fills. Sometimes Excel has a little bit of a difficult time trying to figure out what you're doing, so I'm just rather be safe than sorry. So here we click on the drop down. So my cursor here is focused on the first blank cell underneath the list where I'm trying to get it to recognize the pattern, and then I'll click here under fill flash fill and click on that, and it automatically fills down all 77 rows. Then I will place my cursor to widen this column so that I can see it a little bit better. Between the B and the C, right on that vertical line, when it turns into this black um, cursor kind of cross kind of thing with the arrows, then I'll double click, and that really didn't move it that much. There weren't very many long last names. Okay, so that just widens the column so that you can see everything inside that column. All right, so the next thing I want to do is format these numbers so that it's 3 digits. So it has preceding zeros that will help this add up to 3 digits, but meaning if it's just a single digit like 1, 2, 3, 5, 9, then I want it to be preceded with 2 leading zeros. But if it's a 2-digit number, I want it to be preceded by 1 so that the total number of digits in each cell would be 3. And I can do that by formatting a number format. So if I click in the cell and I'll just, I can click and apply it to one cell and then paint it down to the rest of the cells with the format paintbrush. But here I'm going to right click, choose format cells, and then I need to put it in a number format, but this doesn't give me number formats that have the preceding zeros the way that I need. So I have to create a custom format, and I don't have that custom format here either. It doesn't come out of the box. So what I need to do is create the format myself as a custom format by highlighting the existing selection here, and then I just want to type 3 zeros, and that's the format I want, and click OK. And you can see that this has 2 preceding zeros, but if I take this, click on my paintbrush and paint down, you'll see that it gives me exactly what I want, which is 3 numbers in this cell. So if it was 1 digit, it will be preceded with 2 leading zeros, and if it was 2 digits, it'll be preceded by 1 leading zero, and if it's 100 or over as a 3-digit number, then it won't give me any leading zeros. So that's good, but it still isn't going to give me what I want, so I'm going to have to show you that this won't work, but I will show you how it will work, but this will help you get you a better understanding of why I'm doing what I'm doing. So here I will add another column for the unique ID or external identifier. I right click on the column, choose insert, and now in column C I will call this external ID. And what I want here is I need to make sure that this matches up with the ID that I already have for this person in the database. And I don't want to export all these people out and figure out how to match them. I'm just giving a made up external ID that I make up on the fly, but that's consistent with my naming convention. And that would be, I want their state first, so OR, plus their chamber, so whether they're in the House or in the Senate, it would give me an S or an H. And then if it was, and then if they have a district number, which, the U.S. Senate wouldn't have a district number, but in this case, I want 001, so I need it to be the 3 digits. And the reason I want it to be 3 digits is because when I sort this by their external ID, that's pretty important to me, then that all the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sorts in kind of a numeric sequential order, instead of by text, which would give me 1, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 2, 20, 21, 22, 23, and I don't want that. I want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I would never get to 3 for like 30 numbers. Anyway, in order to create the formula using multiple cells, I will hit the equal sign, and then I could just type in quotes OR because that's text and hit enter, and that works for me. But if this state field had multiple states in it, like Nevada and Idaho and New Mexico, then that wouldn't work for me. So I would, instead of hard coding that in there, I would click on the cell so that it adjusts to whatever is in the cell on the row that it's where it's being applied. Okay, so I've got that. Now I want to get the chamber. So I'm concatenating with the ampersand, and then I will hit this cell because I need to get their chamber. So whether it's an S or an H, that needs to go in there. So if I hit enter, you can see, there we go. So I wouldn't have wanted to hard code that to ORS because some of these aren't S's, they're H's. All right, so I've got that. The next thing I need to do is put in their district number by number, but I need it to be 3 digits, and I'll show you how this won't work. So when I hit ampersand and click on this 3-digit number and hit enter, it removes the formatting that I had on this cell. So instead of putting the formatting on the cell that I'm grabbing, I'm going to put it right inside this formula. So let me remove this here for now. And then I will say, you know what, this number is not going to be a number, it's going to be a text, but it will be a number. So I want to put I have to hold the shift key, open the parenthesis, and you can see the value will be this, A2. So it's exactly the cell that I had before, but now I'm just applying a formatting to it. I'll continue with a comma, and then in quotes, I'll put 1, 2, 3. So there's the formatting saying I want this letter or text or whatever to appear to be a number that's 3 digits, meaning put those preceding zeros on there if it's 1 or 2 digits. Okay, so now I will hit the closing parenthesis and hit enter. And now I have what I need, which is the state, the chamber, and the 3-digit district number, which allows me to sort this in the proper numeric order. Okay. Well, this is not a unique ID because some states have 2 people in the same office. Some people like Minnesota and Idaho will throw an A or a B behind it if there are 2 seats or 2 positions for that office. In this case, I just want this to go to the person, so I'm going to concatenate their last name. So inside this field again, I'm going to hit the ampersand at the end and then click on their last name field and hit enter, and that will give me, when I flash fill, the exact number that I need. So Oregon, Senate, District 1, last name Hurd, down the line. And you could see that when they're in the House instead of the Senate, it gives me whatever's in this column, which is the H. Okay, and I can remove the formatting from here, so I'll just grab this again, and you'll see that that won't affect anything. So here, format it back down to 1 number, and this is still 3 digits because we applied this section of the code, the formula. Okay. The next thing I need to do is, just because the data is here and I'm a data hoarder, I want to continue I want to put their party in here, their political party. I happen to know that this file has only Republicans and Democrats in it. It doesn't have any third party, libertarians, independents, or whatever. So I only have to worry about those two. So this is party, affiliation, and then I'm going to use the filter for this. So the reason I'm going to use the filter is I could see if Excel could figure out that I'm putting rep, dem, and then flash fill it down, but I want to show you another way. So what I'm going to do is filter here, and then I'm going to filter this column by everything that has REP period. So when I click on this drop down and I type in search REP period, it limits this list and filters out. So you can see 2, 3, 4, 5, there's no 6, it's hidden. 7 through 14 is missing. And so therefore those are Democrats, and this is only showing me Republicans. And I did include the period just to be safe, just in case somebody had REP in their last name and it was a Democrat, then I wouldn't mark them as a Republican. So here I want to click on the first blank cell in my table and type R. Oh, you know what? I don't want a REP because we're just doing R's in my database. So when I import it in, all I need is R. It's not going to recognize it if it's REP or REP period. So now that I have the code that I need, or the value that I need, I want to flash fill this down by going to the lower right corner, getting this black cross and double clicking, and bam, it goes all the way down, finds everybody who's showing or displaying in this list, not the hidden ones, and it will put an R in there. All right, so the next thing I want to do is look for Dem. So in the search here on the filter, DEM period, click OK, and now it only shows me Dems, and you'll see that this column is blank now because there are no Republicans here. We hid them. So now we want to just type a D, and for some odd reason, when you do this for the second time, it doesn't work. It just turns this to an R. So because this is a small file, there are not that many records, I'm going to click on this, grab the handle, and just drag it down manually. If anybody knows how this should work for me better, please put it in the comments below. And then now I have, when I remove this filter, and I could select all, click OK. Now I should scan down here and make sure that I have only R's and D's and no blanks. And that's what I have. So that looks like all the information that I need. And I can remove the filter. So I'll just come over here to sort and filter, remove filter, and I should be good to go. I know that I'm not going to need this column. And really, that's the only column. Oh, and I'm not going to need this one. So, but I have to be careful here because if I come here and delete this column, watch what happens to my external ID. It breaks. And the reason it breaks is because it was looking to that column to make up its components here. So I need to undo what I just did. And now if I wanted to delete that district ordinal, I would select the entire spreadsheet by clicking on this gray box between the column headers and the row headers, and then I will copy that. And copying it puts it up in my, imaginary clipboard there. And then what I want to do is I'll select cell A1, or I could have stayed where I was, and I will right click and paste values, and that will remove all of the formulas. So now this is no longer a formula. It's not contingent on any of the other fields in here, and which allows me to remove this column. And now this doesn't break looking for a reference. Okay, so now that I have this, I could actually even delete this column because I don't need it. It's not being stored in my database, and then this will allow me to, when I go to map the fields, when I import this into my CiviCRM WordPress open source plugin, I didn't have that field in here, and then I won't have to map a field. I would just put it to do not import, but it's just extra work and extra clutter. So these are the fields that I need. It looks great. Just to reiterate, we learned how to do flash fill to fill down Oregon. We learned how to filter by something in a column. So in this case, the party was REP period, and we filtered by that, and then we were able to flash fill down the R's, and then we filtered by DEM period, and then we were able to drag down D's to put the parties in. The other thing that we learned was how to do formatting on numbers in a cell, but we also learned that formatting didn't take effect inside the formula, so that's why we had to put together this. I think I might still have it here. The text, and then the parentheses reference the cell that you need to format, and then we put this formatting, the 3 zeros with the equals the apostrophes around them, encased in apostrophes, and then that allowed us to have the 3-digit number inside of a formula that concatenates cells together, and then we concatenated the last name, which we had also flash filled from this candidate cell. So in the next lesson, we will import this into CiviCRM, and you can see how I keep a legislator database so that I can keep my whip counts together and any kind of information or touches or activities associated with individual legislators. Hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please give me a like and subscribe to my channel for more good content on technology and whatever else I feel like throwing up there. And I hope you have a beautiful day. Thank you.